From shark attack to the Paralympics, Allie Truitt was snorkeling with her friend when the two of them were attacked by a bullshark. It tore off Allie's foot, and the girls knew they had to make it back to the boat if they stood any chance of survival. But getting to the boat was just the beginning. Hit like and subscribe. This is Fierce. Allie Truitt was 22 years old. In May 2023, she had just graduated from Yale University with a medical degree and was enjoying some downtime. She kicked things off by running a marathon with her mom on Mother's Day. Then she headed for some real R&R. Her destination was the islands of Turks and Caicos, where she traveled with her college friend and teammate, Sophie Pilkington. The two of them were competitive swimmers, something that potentially saved their lives when disaster struck just days into their overseas adventure. Situated in the West Indies, the islands are postcard perfect, with white sandy beaches, turquoise waters, and a tropical climate. It was the perfect place to celebrate the end of university and was a break before Allie was due to start work at a consulting firm. But something was about to change her life forever. On the morning of May 24th, they took a small boat out for a snorkeling trip. The cool water engulfed them as they jumped in. They had been told that the area is safe from sharks. Swimming and snorkeling in the crystal clear waters are the most popular activities for visitors to the islands. The underwater scene was a stunning mix of brightly colored fish and corals. The water was so clear they could see the ocean floor below them. But there was something hidden from sight. It was a predator, always on the lookout for an easy meal. And it was heading directly for the two young women. After snorkeling for some time, they headed back to the boat. With their heads down in the water, still admiring the marine life below them, they suddenly felt a heavy bump. Not sure what it was at first, both friends looked around, and that's when they saw it. A terrifying image that sent shockwaves of adrenaline and fear through the body. The gray skin and white underbelly of a bullshark. Its small beady eyes were fixed on them, and its mouth was slightly open, displaying rows of razor-sharp teeth. It bashed into the girls, and they shoved it back, pushing it away on the snout. Panic gripped them. Coming face to face with such a marine predator in a vulnerable situation like that was everyone's worst nightmare. While trying to swim back to the boat, they repeatedly pushed the head of the shark away as it came at them again and again. Then, suddenly, it grabbed Allie's lower left leg. She felt the searing pain of the bite and the intense pressure. In an instant, it had bitten down on flesh and bone, and in yet another instant, it had sheared right through them. When the pressure had released and she looked down, the image of her foot missing was something that would stay with her forever. But instead of panic and giving in, the two determined young swimmers decided to make a dash for the boat. It was 75 yards away, 1.5 lengths of an Olympic-sized swimming pool, but they were some of the strongest and fastest swimmers around, and fending off the shark with their bare hands wasn't working. The shark was still circling them. It was coming back for more. Allie was leaving a blood trail behind her. It was tantalizing the bullshark, one of the most aggressive species in the ocean. The thought of the shark following them was terrifying. Any second now, it could take another bite. Any second, the two women were anticipating another bump from the enormous animal, or to feel its powerful jaws clamp around them once more. The 75 yards felt like miles. Each second felt like a minute. They were racing through the water, but it felt agonizingly slow. Miraculously and against all odds, they made it to the boat and hurriedly pulled themselves up and out of the water before the shark could get them again. But the fight had only just begun. Allie was losing a lot of blood. Her leg had been severed just above the foot, and she had been running on adrenaline and determination alone. Now, she could feel herself fading. But Sophie wasn't going to let that happen. She had also graduated from medical school and quickly made a tourniquet and tied it tightly around Allie's leg to slow the bleeding. It was a decision that may have saved Allie's life. She then turned the boat back to shore and rushed Allie onto the beach. She was airlifted to a trauma hospital in Miami where they fought to stave off infection, and she underwent 2 surgeries. Then she was transferred to a hospital in New York, and on her 23rd birthday, Allie was taken in for yet another surgery. This time it was to amputate her leg below the knee. The trauma that Allie and her friend went through was enough to destroy them. Allie admits that there were a lot of dark days. She was in her prime, in peak physical condition with a potential swimming career in the cards. But that all had been taken away from her in a split second. Or had it? Not long after the attack, Allie stopped asking herself, "Why did this happen to me?" and began asking herself, "Why not throw everything into something?" She was grateful to be alive. She knew the outcome could have been very different, and she credits the actions of her friend and teammate Sophie and the medical response for that. The shark may have taken away her leg, but she was determined not to let it take away her love for the water. With her family by her side, Allie took her first tentative steps into waist-high water in her family's backyard pool. It was the first step not just on her road to recovery, but toward her new goal, to make it to the Paris Paralympics. By the time she had made her decision to compete in the Paralympics, Allie had little more than a year to prepare. Just 3.5 months after the attack, she was back in the swimming pool, competing again. At first, she had flashbacks and her leg was painful, but the more she worked at swimming competitively and training with her new coach, Jamie Barone, the more she found her love for swimming once again. It was a huge accomplishment in itself to get back in the pool after such an ordeal. There were times when she didn't think it was possible, but every length she swam of the pool felt like a victory for Allie. She had her friends, family, and former teammates all cheering her on. They were there every step of the way for her. They began to see glimpses of the old Allie again, the determined young woman who dominated the pool. But there was more to come. Allie made it into the Nationals in Florida, swimming backstroke and freestyle. She competed internationally in Portugal, the first time she had left the U.S. since the attack. And incredibly, she won the 100 backstroke, 400 free, and 100 free in the Paralympic trials, making it to the USA team for the 2024 Paralympics in Paris. She was now swimming with and against other Paralympic greats, a dream she never thought was possible just 1 year before. Her determination to not just fight off a shark and survive, but fight to make it to the competitive stage again, is a testament to her character and a role model for others to follow.